Hello everyone and welcome to Queen's University in Belfast. I'm Louise from the Faculty of Engineering and Physical Sciences and joined today with Dr. Neil Anderson, the Programme Director of our Masters in Software Development. So we're going to tell you a little bit about the course today, and if you have any questions, you're welcome to get in touch. So Neil, tell us a little bit about this course. What's the format, what's the outline, how is it studied?
So this course is MSc in software development, as you've said. There's quite a few different options in how you can actually study the course, and on the screen we've got some variations that we can talk about when we go through this. So primarily the course is taught in two different versions. The first we call the full-time course, so MSc Software Development full-time, and you can see details about that on the left of the screen. The full-time course is quite compact in terms of a time commitment overall, so it's a 1-year commitment running from September, the middle of September each year, to the middle of the next September. And in that time you do absolutely everything required for a full MSc programme. We also have the part-time version of the course, so MSc Software Development part-time. There's quite a few variations in how the part-time version runs, and you can see that on the right-hand side of the screen. Typically, to get the full MSc, it runs over a 3-year period, but the difference between the full-time and the part-time is the commitment required each week. So the full-time course is an in-person course primarily, and it runs between 9 to 5, 3 days a week. The part-time course runs in the evenings, so that means that it's a completely different setup for you depending on what sort of commitments you have. Typically we'll get students on the part-time course that are maybe working full-time or have very heavy family commitments or a combination of both, and they're not able to study with us during the day, so they choose to study flexibly in the evening. The other big difference between the two courses is that the full-time course, as I said, is taught in person in the computer science building in Belfast. Now it does have some actual online content, so I suppose technically it's a hybrid course. We teach that course, the full-time course, between 9 to 5 on Mondays and Tuesdays in person. And then on Thursdays, we do what's called our online day. And that means that students can work from home on the Thursday. It's also great because it's a computing course, so teaching a computing course through online medium works really well because you can have all your screen shares up and running. The part-time course, though, is taught entirely online, so you don't need to come to Belfast for any part of that course, and that includes the assessment as well. So the part-time course, you're working in the evenings, typically Tuesdays and Thursday evenings between, say, 6 and 9 p.m. With a lecturer who's presenting live, and you can chat to them and talk to them while they're presenting, ask them questions and all of that sort of stuff. So it's an interactive course. But it's done from home, so you can connect from wherever you are in the UK. And that course as well, as I said, all the assessment is done online as well, so there's no requirement on the part-time course to come into Belfast. So ultimately you end up with the same degree. They both provide you with the MSc in software development, but it's two very different routes in how to get there.
Okay, thank you. So we often hear about this course being described as a conversion course, so it's open to people from a completely non-technical background, and there is a very varied, a real mixture of backgrounds in the class. How does that really work for people with absolutely no programming experience? How do we get started?
Yeah, well, you sort of hit the nail on the head there. This is a conversion course, so this is not a MSc specialism course in a very detailed application of computing. This course expects, and in fact it requires, that students come in without a previous degree in computer science. That's one of the entry requirements, is that you don't have a, say, for example, an undergraduate degree in computer science or software engineering. So we would expect a really diverse range of students coming onto the course with lots and lots of different backgrounds. But if you are thinking about coming onto the course, what you're not going to find whenever you arrive in week 1 is you're not going to be sitting down beside somebody who's already done computer science for 3 years. We don't expect you to have any prior programming or computing experience other than the ability, to use a computer. So all the modules, and you can see the modules there on screen, both in the full-time course and the part-time course. They're actually the same modules, but we just sort of chop them up slightly differently in how we present them, just to fit the structure of the course. But all of those modules are taught from scratch. So whenever you go into the programming course, the very first thing you're going to do is write your very first line of code, and then get that to compile and get that to run. And that's what everybody in the course is doing. So we don't require students to spend the summer beforehand in any boot camps or anything like that, getting ready for the course. We don't expect them to come in being able to program. We expect the students to come into the course not being able to program, because that's where we're taking it from. And the same carries through into software engineering, databases, web development. For example, in the databases course, we might expect students to have maybe heard of what a database is, but certainly not expect them to know how it works or to have done anything with it in the past. We'll cover absolutely everything from scratch. So in that sense, it really is a true conversion course. You can convert from any other subject area, and in the case of the full-time course, 1 year later, you will be fully qualified with an MSc in software development. On the part-time course, depending on how you go through it, I mean, that could take around 3 years, but of course, remember, you're only learning and studying in the evenings in that one.
Yeah, that leads to my next question, actually, and you touched on it already, the sort of flexible options for study. So we know a lot of people during this course are maybe still in their current job, or maybe studying the evenings, young kids, shift work. How flexible is it? Like, what's the requirement to be there on the set nights that you're teaching, or can you watch it back at your own time?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So if we both of the courses have flexibility built into them, but in slightly different ways. The most flexible course by its nature is going to be the part-time course. So the part-time course, as you can see there on the right-hand side of the screen, we're covering modules in year bands. So year 1, year 2, and year 3. Year 1 is sometimes called the PG Cert or PG Certificate year. You might see that sometimes on the Queen's website, a PG Cert. And if you're ever wondering what that is, that's what it is. It's year 1 of the MSc program. Year 2 of the MSc program, it's also sometimes called the PG Dip, or the diploma year. So if you ever see that, that's what that means. And then year 3 gets the full MSc. So the first thing to know is that there's actually what we call an exit point at each of those years. So if you start the course and you want to do some programming, computing foundations, get to grips with basics, all of that sort of stuff, then you could actually just do 1 year and leave with a PG Cert. And that is a qualification from Queen's, an award from Queen's, and the same with the DIP and the MSc. But inside that, when you're actually running as part of the course, there's loads of flexibility on those, especially in that part-time option. So as you said, you don't necessarily need to be there for all of the live lectures. Obviously, the more of the live lectures you get to, the better, because live lectures are different from watching recordings. Live lectures, you're there, you're actually working alongside the lecturer. They're putting the code up on the screen, you're putting the same code into your computer, and you're actually working together through the exercises and through the theory and the practice. And that's really what this course is about. It's all about the doing. It really doesn't have an awful lot of, or very little, in fact, of the sort of stuffy talk and chalk, the old-fashioned style of teaching. This is a very practical vocational course. So if you're in the live lecture, you can ask questions as you go, and that can be really helpful because you can do that through the live chat, and the lecturer will read that and they'll respond to the question, and then maybe do something custom in the lecture just to help you out. That's really, really valuable. Having said that, we record all of those sessions anyway, so if you can't make it, say on a Tuesday or Thursday night a couple of times, that's absolutely fine. You're still going to get access to all the materials. The other thing we do, and we do this in both the full-time course and the part-time course, is we've been doing this for a number of years now, is we will provide all of the teaching materials online the week before. So through our virtual learning environment, you can download all the code examples, all the lecture notes, all of that sort of stuff. But we go a step further than that. We actually have pre-recordings. So these are like shortened versions of all the lectures. So you're not sitting waiting through maybe a 2 or 3 hour lecture, but we have shortened versions of all the material that's coming up in the next week. And we'll typically make that available on a Thursday or Friday the week before. And that means you can have a massive head start, because rather than waiting for the live lecture to see the stuff for the first time, you can go through the pre-recordings, you can watch bits, and they're all chopped up into little segments so you can find exactly what you're looking for. And if you want to go back to something, they're brilliant revision aids because you can find exactly what you're after. But you can do that the week before. You can do it on a Thursday or Friday, or if you've got time over the weekend, you can have a look at that. You could even do it the night before to prepare yourself for the lecture. And that means that it's a really, really flexible way of learning, because all that material is available to you in advance, but it's also there whenever you're revising. So when you're getting ready for an assessment, and a lot of our assessments are maybe, sort of timed online assessments or project-based assessments. We're never bringing you into an exam hall with pen and paper or anything like that, right? It means that all those videos are there for you. They're all there, and they're all easily catalogued, so you can work your way through them. And then, of course, you get recordings of the actual lectures as well. So there's loads of flexibility built into the course.
Okay. So if someone's starting the course this September, full-time graduated by autumn next year, or up to 3 years if it's part-time, what next then? What type of applying for, and what support is there from the school to get there?
Yeah, so we know the purpose of this course, and we know why people are doing this course. They're doing it because they want to get a job in the software industry, and that's the absolute crucial part of it. So built into the course is a huge amount of dedicated career support. Now, our school, which is EECS in the university, is one of the schools that actually has its own career staff. So Queen's has wonderful career staff in the centre that you can work with, but the school is very fortunate in that we have our own dedicated career staff as well. They cover an absolutely huge amount of stuff for the students on the course, and rightly so, because the whole aim of these courses, especially say if you're, for instance, on the 1-year course and you're really interested in getting that through that course in a year and getting your award, as you say, the next autumn, then while you're doing that course, you need to be doing the career stuff right from the very start. We can't just leave it until May or June the next year. It's much too late. So right from the very beginning of the course, and you can see their careers fairs start in October. But actually at induction, the career staff will be in, and they come into induction and they talk to everybody then. And in the first week of the course, they have set up appointments with students. They're doing employer presentations, so they're bringing employers into the building. They're doing online employer presentations and careers fairs, so the students have a really good opportunity to get to know the employers. But then they're also doing CV reviews and mock interviews and all of these sort of things. Everything is preparing for a job in industry. Everything's preparing for that application process. Alongside all of that, they're running tech talks and challenges and hackathons and meet the grad events and all that sort of stuff. So rather than careers being something that you typically would have thought about maybe at the end of a university degree, this is something you think about on day one of the degree. So it's really built into the course. There's some logos on the screen of companies that we've placed graduates of our courses with, and you can see it covers a massive spectrum. By the way, this isn't all of them. This is just a snapshot of some of the companies that you might recognize the names of where we have students. We have students all across UK and Ireland, all across Western Europe, and across the rest of the globe as well. So there's a really, really high employment rate into the software industry from these courses, both the full-time course and the part-time course in the MSc. And so it's something that it really is a fundamental part of what we're doing.
Okay, thank you. Finally, how do I apply? What's that application process look like?
So the application requires a short aptitude test. That's done online, and there's no cost or anything for doing that. It's a short test, and everybody who's joining the course needs to do that. We will, whenever you apply to the course, we send out information including when the next test is going to be, and as I say, it's online. It's not at a fixed time, so it takes place over, I think it's normally a 2-day period, and you can choose to do it anytime over those 2 days. And then alongside that, we'll also send out some sample tests as well, so you can get used to the sort of the type of application. And I say it's quite a short little test, and really it's just to make sure that you've got the right, exactly as it says, aptitude for what's coming up in the course, because obviously you want to make sure that you're in the right mindset for doing it. Typically those tests take place at the end of each month, and they normally start around January time, and there'll normally be a test each month up until around the end of July. To give yourself the best chance of getting into the next aptitude test, then you would want to apply before the middle of the month, and that would mean that your application comes through all the Queen's processes, and then goes into the set for the next set of tests. So for example, if you were thinking of applying and you wanted to catch the end of July, say for example, test, you would really want to make sure that you've got your application in by the end of the first or second week in July, just to make sure that you catch that next one. So that's one of the things to keep in mind. So it's a fairly short little test, but it's certainly it's required as part of the process. In terms of the applications for the courses, then you can find out more at the two links that I've got on screen. So there's one link for the full-time course and another link for the part-time course. All the information on the actual requirements, academic requirements, and the process and how to apply can be found on those two links. You can either go directly to those links, or you can just search online for QUB MSc Software Development. If you're interested in a part-time course, obviously you can put part-time after the end of that search string, and then that's going to bring you to either of those two pages.
Great. Thanks very much, Neil. I think that's been really useful. And just to add a contact email address even, there's one called askeps@qub.ac.uk. We can fire any questions through that you might have, or if you're thinking of applying, to get in touch. Okay, thanks very much, Neil.
Thanks very much.